I speak to you in the name of God, who is life and love. Let us pray. Gracious God, we give you thanks for this day. We thank you for the spirit of life within us and for the gift of community. We are especially grateful for the opportunity to gather together this afternoon for the sake of Westlake. We ask your blessing upon those called to serve in positions of leadership here. We give thanks for elected officials, for staff, first responders, and educators. Grant them wisdom and grace in the exercise of their duties. Building our common life together is a worthy and difficult task. In times of abundance, fill our hearts with gratitude. In times of trouble, grant us wisdom and courage. May we meet humbly, speak generously, and work for the common good. And through it all, let us rest in the knowledge that nothing can separate us from your love. Bless our time together today, and bless all those gathered. In all our efforts, may we be a blessing to others. Amen.
And well done. Thank you so much for being here. We now have help with the pledges from our good friends at Primrose. I'll join you up front. All rise. Mabel, Liam, and Kennedy. Y'all ready? I need help in many ways. You ready? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, republic, one nation, God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all. Now we'll do the Texas pledge. Honor, flag, pledge allegiance to thee, one state, God, one. Thank you all very much for being here. I love that. We now have a presentation, receive Metroport Chamber of Commerce annual update. Sally Allridge is here. Sally, thanks for being here.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. Dang it. There we go. I just need to not slide presentation. There. While they're finding it, you have packets in front of you. My annual packet. So in it, you have a copy of our annual report, the investment for the upcoming year, an overview of what the membership rates are for our businesses. On the other side, you'll have sort of a snapshot of why we are a regional chamber and regionalize your reach. Businesses are joining the chamber. Our business and relocation guide for 2026, a great resource. And then the other pieces behind it are all the ways you can get engaged and involved with it. I'm going to have a presentation. Really? That's okay. Technical difficulties. All right.
We got time.
Well, I can always fast forward front end of the slides.
We're going to get it up, pulled up. We'll give her, okay.
Yes, I can. Well, yes. And see it.
going to play the Jeopardy music?
As usual, I am very quick because I know you always have a large agenda of items, so I will not keep very much of your time. I can give you a quick update on how your chamber is doing.
So Sally, while we're waiting, let me ask you, how long have you been president and CEO of the chamber?
26 plus years.
Sorry, it's not working out. That is great. And I know you'll cover it. Membership, how's membership going?
Membership is holding in this industry right now because of the economy, although things are moving. It's like the gain and lose. Just is, but we are seeing an improvement.
Okay.
So we gain a great number of members, but the balancing act. And it really comes down to getting involved, trying to get members to get engaged and involved. So that's the piece that we find is that they like the ribbon cuttings, but if you don't get engaged and start participating, involved in all the opportunities you have, like a gym membership, the industry doesn't like us to say it, but I'm going to say it. It's very much that way if you don't get engaged or involved.
Y'all do a great job. I made the joke I wanted to spend all summer doing groundbreaking and ribbon cuttings, and we had quite a few.
Yes.
So we were happy about that.
Absolutely. Yes, most definitely.
Sally, I'm afraid, we're going to have to resend. Yeah, if you want us to use it. Otherwise, we'll just have to have you speak about it.
Yeah, do you want to,
Do I?
Up to you.
Send
Whatever
it.
you want. Quick second.
Sally, why don't you set that up? We'll do
Yes.
community interest real quick, and then we'll
Yes.
and we're sorry for this,
No,
but
no. that's-
then I know we have a speaker as well. We're going to move to items of community interest. Mr. Sasser?
Good evening, Mayor and Council. We've got a few things here to talk about. The first being the Planning and Zoning meeting that was scheduled on September 1st. Right now, there's no agenda items, so that is put on hold as of now. The Town Hall and the Municipal Court will be closed in observance of Labor Day on Monday, September 7th. And then our next scheduled Town Council meeting is September 15th. Some items of note as well. Please mark your calendar for Blacksmith's Giving Day on September 17th. The goal this year is $1.5 million to be raised. It's the biggest fundraiser of the year for the foundation. There's several ways to donate. You can find all of that information on their website. As you guys all can attest, Texas gives less money to the charter schools like Westlake Academy than they do the ISDs. So you couple that with the IB
Substantially
education.
less, I might
Yes,
add.
substantially less. Yes, sir. Couple that with the IB education requiring many more resources than they really need to help. So anybody in the community who would like to help our hometown school would be greatly appreciated. Again, that Giving Day is on September 17th. The 9/11 Run to Remember is going to be on September 12th. This, of course, is the 25th anniversary of the September 11th attacks. So our fire department, EMS, Chief Ard, and the gang are putting on their annual race. It begins on September 12th at 9:15 is when it kicks off. You can start parking at the fire station around 8 or 8:15 that morning. Tickets are just $30. It's a 5K. You get a shirt as well, and all proceeds go to the Tunnel to Towers Foundation. So it's a great cause, and again, they put a lot of work into this, and it's grown, much like our flag planting has grown every single year, so it should be quite an event.
It was a great event last year. The Chief Ard and his team just do a great job.
Absolutely. And then we finish it off on a high note. The Military Heroes Run recap from this past weekend was on Saturday, bright and early at 7 a.m. They had 325 runners sign up. They raised $37,000 for wounded veterans just in this event alone. This is the 6th year in Westlake, 15th year overall. And one interesting story of note that I had to share, they actually had a amputee who was their keynote speaker at the gala the night before on Friday, and he ran in the race. He is a Medal of Honor recipient, and I say this because it's germane to the story. He finished last. However, there were 30 junior ROTC members standing there waiting for him at the finish line, clapping and rallying around him to finish. It was quite an emotional time, and everybody was just going crazy and just kind of mobbed him and hugged him and gave him high fives. And then he he was gracious enough to sit down, again, with these 30 junior ROTCs standing around him and just gave this 20-minute motivational speech about never giving up, committing to something and finishing it. Certainly exactly what he did in that race. So
Wow.
we are so happy to have those guys be a part of the Westlake community. I spoke with the organizer this morning. She says they had zero complaints about any kind of the trails and the course. So congratulations to the guys at Kyle and
Kyle.
your crew. They rave about it, and they're already talking about next year. So,
And this was our 14th or 15th year in Westlake?
this was the 6th year in Westlake, 15th
15th,
overall,
okay.
but they are already ready to go for year 7 next year.
I missed it this year, but I do know Dr. Anna White ran in it yet again. I don't know if she placed, I got to ask. She did 2
Yeah.
years ago, so, but she said it was fabulous.
Yeah, so those are your items of community interest.
Excellent, John, thank you. Okay, we ready? Sally, take 2. Way to be agile. There you go.
Okay, all right. Oh, down again. Okay, I'm back. All right, let's go through these really quick. So we continue to be your business community. We've been connecting the Alliance area since 1988. Our mission, vision, and value statement continues to remain the same. We've had a board retreat to work on our next 3-year strategic plan, and it looks like we're going to be keeping this. We're finalizing that by the end of year for the next 3 years. And then this is our region, and we're grateful that Westlake is a member of this region. And then this gives you a snapshot of the different businesses that we continue to serve. So it's quite the large spread that we need to make sure we're providing the right programs, the right speakers, and right content. And here's a snapshot of the membership as it finished out at the end of 2025. And I keep liking making that note that businesses are coming from 49 different communities. So people really want to do business in this region, which benefits this region and the community. These are the 4 areas we continue to work on with our members: networking, education, promotion, advocacy. And this gives you a snapshot on all the opportunities for networking, whether you're a large business or a small. We have added a lot more small business networking because the cost of the venues have been going up. They continue to go up, and we need to be cognizant of that. So we offer a lot more free opportunities for our small businesses, which is a large amount of our members. And this gives you a snapshot of our digital networking. Facebook group keeps growing. Our online presence keeps growing. And then we focus on education in 3 areas: our Regional Advantage Leadership Program, which is a 9-month program that will kick off this fall again, our Women in Business Quarterly Luncheons, and our BET, which is our business education training, which we do at the building, really specifically for small businesses. On promotion, all these are opportunities that are available for our members, and depending on what level you invest at, a lot of these are actually included.
Good job on the picture.
Let's go back, see? And then on
better
advocacy, we do the State of the Communities Address. Thank you, Mayor, for your presentation again at our February luncheon. It's one of our largest attended, where our communities provide an update. Our Lone Star Legislative Report, which is our legislative, for our upcoming legislative session, as you all know, is again next March. It rolls around real quick. So this year will be a prelude to next session. And then our Regional Advantage Leadership class goes to Austin for a day. And then, of course, Denton and Tarrant County Days, which we participate in for both of those, and that will be next March. And then on ED initiatives, these are all the areas that we focus on with our communities. And every year, there's always an interesting project that we can always work on together. And of course, we have a chamber building. It is there for our members, including our communities, to use. So we encourage you to consider it if you're wanting to do a retreat or just want to host a meeting. We have the Commons that's open Monday through Thursday, and it's just a place for people to land, free coffee. It's a great space to work or entertain or host somebody for a meeting. And we have 3 areas of business office space, on meeting room space, small, medium, as well as our large conference room. We have 12 leasable offices, which are really turnkey. It includes everything that you see on the screen, and it's a great opportunity for businesses to start up, especially entrepreneurs, hang a shingle. You have a business, you know how expensive it is to start a business. And so we really try to offer opportunities for entrepreneurs to get started. We cannot do all we do without the tremendous support of our larger investors to keep the pricing low for our small businesses. So thank you again to the town of Westlake for your annual commitment to the chamber, our chairman's circle and president's circle. And then our events, you come to many, and we are grateful for that. And you're also a bronze sponsor. Again, thank you. And we could not host all that we do without the tremendous financial support. And then we do a trip every year. This year is Croatia. We do sell it out, and it's a great opportunity to see the world and network. And you get to travel with me. Anyway, so we launched actually at the luncheon the next trip, which is going to be covering Germany, Austria, and Italy. It's a great trip. If you're interested, see me. It's also a non-dues revenue. And then this is how you find us, all different spaces out there. And then also in your packet is our Connect cards. We're huge believers in QR codes. It's a great way to keep everything relevant and up to date. So I encourage you to put that in your wallet or your purse, back of it. And then just a few pictures, which we've captured some Westlake visit, because in October we do a trip around all the communities. And and that's me. I'm always quick.
Any questions
Any
for
questions
Sally?
for me?
Questions? Y'all do a great job. I can't thank you enough, and I know I missed the last lunch, and I apologize. I
No
said I'd
worries.
never miss one, but we've had a few things going on.
You're one of our most active.
Yeah, anyway,
So
thank you so
I
much for
appreciate
being
it.
here.
Thank you all. Thank you for your time.
Sally?
Okay, next is citizen and public comments, sir. Just state your name and
Hi, my name is Austin Kaiser. I'm a new recent resident of the city of Westlake. I have a letter written by my father who couldn't make it. He was meetings. Distribute it?
yes, sir.
Okay. I think I have 7, so I have just enough. So he went to law school. He's a little bit more polished than I. I have my own statement. That's his. And I guess let me know when you'd like me to begin.
Begin. And
Okay. Hello, I'm Austin Kaiser, recent resident to Westlake, but longtime resident of the area. My family has properties in Southlake, Westlake, and Keller, so we contribute a lot to the area and tax revenue. The property title is in my parents' name, but I'm representing their interests because they couldn't make it today to this meeting. My family moved to Southlake in 1995. I went through Carroll Independent School District, and I'm a graduate of Southlake Carroll. My family actually just built a home in Quail Hollow, and we made a significant investment because we wanted to stay in an area of the Metroplex that we know and love. A comment was made last night that no Westlake residents oppose the construction of this data center. Well, I'm here to tell you that isn't true. Nobody knew or was given appropriate notice. There was no public referendum or town hall advertised seeking input from the residents of Westlake. This decision was entirely made by Westlake officials. It first came to my attention yesterday evening around midnight, where it was reported that you're considering allowing the construction of a data center within the city of Westlake, and that there had been a surreptitious meeting planned to approve its construction. This is an insult to every tax-paying resident of Westlake. Westlake is one of the most desirable towns to live in all of Texas, but even its residents are not immune to this new oppressive campaign of data center development. I read the PR statement, "The Truth About Westlake's Data Center," posted by the city on August 6th. The statement was non-responsive and had a dismissive tone towards our Keller neighbors, and it didn't read like it was written by someone representing the residents of Westlake, but by a law firm representing the owners of the data center. It can be summarized as, yeah, we understand this is a problem, but shucks, jolly, gee whiz, I guess we just have to accept it because it was zoned this way in 1998. Nobody knew or could even conceive of data centers in 1998, let alone politicians being so reckless they would allow carte blanche to be built in large urban areas, residential areas. You talk about property rights of the owner in that statement. Well, what about the property rights of the rest of the property owners of Westlake? These data centers destroy property values. They create noise and light pollution and suck up the city's utilities, causing residents to pay more for water and electric. Furthermore, the myth of economic gain is just that. The local residents pay the price by degrading their quality of life and paying more for public utilities. In return, what they receive is unclear. Furthermore, you don't mention it could lead to the residents of Westlake, Keller, Trophy Club having land confiscated by eminent domain in the future so they can divert more utilities to this new structure. It shouldn't be allowed in major urban residential areas, but they choose these locations because local property owners have already paved the way for all the infrastructure for them to come in and exploit for pennies on the dollar, rather than building from scratch out in West Texas in the Permian Basin. What about the Vaquero neighborhood? Vaquero is one of, if not the most desirable neighborhood in all of Dallas-Fort Worth, and you're building a data center right on top of it. The country club and all the surrounding Vaquero neighborhood is entirely within the 3-mile radius where noise pollution would be generated by this data center.
Sir, just to let you know, there's a 3-minute rule. I know you started, you didn't get enough time, but you need to wrap up the next few minutes. There's a 3-minute limit. We're sorry.
I would be shocked to hear that many Vaquero neighbors or club management knew or supported the PR statement released by the city of Westlake. Besides the noise, another major concern is water use and contamination. Aside from the strain on city water supply, will the data center be allowed to drill their own wells, siphoning groundwater? And once portable water has been used by these data centers, it comes back polluted with chemicals, heavy metals, and minerals that will strain municipal treatment plants. This is the water we drink and bathe in. Has there been an environmental assessment on this matter? So here we are now. What is the solution moving forward? Rather than facilitate and expedite this data center proposal with zero transparency, I strongly encourage the city of Westlake put a moratorium on construction and allow a vote in November citywide. I request further action be considered to provide additional information on this major development, and I respectfully ask that you consider the 9 points raised in my letter addressed to the mayor and the Westlake Town Council.
Thank you. So thank you for being here. We appreciate it.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Thank you for the hospital.
Thank you. Now we'll get into reports. Agenda item F1, informational update, progress report of Westlake Academy Arts and Sciences building expansion. All right, sir.
Afternoon, Council, Mayor. I'll go ahead and start. We have crossed a couple of finish lines out there. It's
Excellent.
really exciting. I feel like I say this every month. It doesn't look exciting yet, but there's a lot in the ground that is done. So the main point, I guess, tonight as we open the school, we were all sweating that a little bit right there at the very end. All of the infrastructure is in place. The roads have all been repatched. We actually kind of went ahead and poured more because the roads were worse than we thought after they cut into them. All of that is done. Actually, I have some photos, but what I didn't realize is they poured the foundation sneakily about Thursday morning. So even the foundation is complete over there. I was shocked.
Kelly
when I walked
sent me a
out there.
note. That is great.
Yeah, have you seen how big it is? It's really good. So what that really means is in about 3 weeks, timber shows up. So maybe by the next meeting or two, we will have a shape of a building, which is pretty exciting. I'm encouraging them to maybe remove some of the fence and the visual part of the fence so we can see that. I think when people pull up to drop kids off, it's going to look really cool. And obviously we want everybody to see what's going on out there. We are about 19% of the way through the budget for Sadalco, which is also indicative of the timeline. We're probably 15 to 20% through. Once again, doesn't look like it, but the groundwork just takes forever. So that puts us at, we're at about, I forget, it was like $5.2 million left, something like that.
Okay.
We have about $200,000 in contingency. If you do look at your charts here, I've updated that again, so that bottom section is really detailed, so you guys can see where we're pulling out money for betterment and stuff like that. Oh, here we go. Okay, so if you saw this, we had our own little Grand Canyon for a while. We discovered the school's on a hill. That sounds obvious, but that means 15-foot hills to get down into them. So it was pretty wild. This is our new concrete. They are going to come power wash and clean all this up because obviously the new patch is much darker. One last look from the sky before they put concrete over it. You can actually see the 4 rooms where they're going to sit. I kind of thought that was a nice sense of scale. We had a bunch of questions about the cardboard boxes. I don't know if any of you heard those. It was hilarious. There was a giant pile. Somebody thought there was dumping going on, but sure enough, it's part of the foundation. So I had to include a photo in case somebody out there is looking for that. And this was right before they poured. So everything is in place, and they're not going to be playing in the dirt anymore, which I'm excited about. We have done our first change order. This was for the library and the entry, which was in the original design actually and had to be pulled out before it was bid. And I'm real excited to say that they've already torn into this, and it already is an improvement. They've moved some walls. The library is going to be significant now, and they're doing it for an amazing price. So I'm pretty excited we finally got this nailed down. Yeah. Yeah.
Did it eat into our
It's
contingency?
quite a bit more than 30 grand, Todd, but because of the interest earnings of the money that we had set aside, through the interest earnings, we had enough money to pay for it all.
Isn't that great? Yeah.
Right, and it's not part of contingency, so
Yeah.
it came out out of the interest earnings. So that's why we're still sitting at a healthy 200,000 in contingency, which at this phase is excellent for a job this size.
Jason, you probably know I'm a numbers guy.
Yeah.
I would have guessed that the $152,000 that you've shown in the total is the remaining contingency.
No, so that first top block is the overall account, essentially. So that is after encumbrances, that is what is sitting in the account that is extra, that is not being touched. And of course, even as I speak, that number is significantly higher just because of another interest earning that passed since I created this. The second block right there shows just Sadalco's contract so that we can just kind of keep up with that percentage dropping. And then the bottom block is contingency just by itself. And really the nice thing about that bottom block is you can see with the description kind of each decision that was made there. And there's a couple blanks, 10 and 11 are coming. They were just little small things that come out of there. That's why they're grayed out.
Thank you.
We are on schedule for a July 27 opening. Don't see anything in the way of that. If there's any other questions about the school, we are expecting, I'm still kind of hoping for maybe a December, January tour. I think that'll be exciting to go get some photos.
No doubt.
Jason, I just have a question about staging and how that's how it's affecting this campus running now that students are back in school.
Yeah,
Have there
yeah.
been any issues?
Not at all. As a matter of fact, they've done a really excellent job. They chose 2 spots to stage that were secure, and one hasn't even been used yet. I think that's where they're going to lay timber down. Our biggest concern was that their trailer and everything is so far from the job site, but the truth is it's so quiet, it's really been smoother than we expected. Right now, I think our biggest concern is there's enough heavy equipment moving across the ground at night that we may have to hold them to repairing some of the road, but so far, so good.
I want to add, I see Chief Ard back there, Tiffany Chaves with HOC. They worked out. Chief, thank you for doing that. They're trying to keep traffic from the school, so Chief's allowing them to pick up their merchandise sales, I think once a month or a couple of times a year at the fire station and keep traffic off there. But Chief, thanks for that. That's a big help. Any questions?
All right.
Well done, sir. Thank
Thank you, guys.
Okay, we'll go into item G, work session, conduct a Town of Westlake FY 26-27 budget workshop. Casey, how are you?
Doing well. How are y'all doing?
Good.
like going after Jason Oliver. He's tall. I don't have to mess with the mic. All right. So, good afternoon. The purpose of today's work session is to really review the proposed budget that was published last week for public inspection. This is the second workshop that we've had this summer on the fiscal year 27 budget, and it will be the longest. I'll go into a lot of details about what's in the packet, what's in the proposed budget, and answer any questions. So to start at the high level before we delve into those specifics, the fiscal year 27 proposed annual budget includes 42 million in all revenues and about 32 million in all expenditures. That does include a roughly $10.8 million contribution to reserves. That's across all funds, with the bulk of that going into the general fund. The proposed budget also keeps our property tax rate flat at 18.5 cents per $100 valuation. It includes funding for 51.5 full-time equivalent positions. Just so everybody knows, the 0.5 is our only part-time position, and that's our municipal judge. It also includes 1.5 million in academy subsidy, and that also includes 1.4 million in capital and major maintenance costs that we have planned for next year. Also within this budget, whenever we were developing it, we had some assumptions that we wanted to make sure that we noted. As I mentioned, we're keeping the overall tax rate flat at that 18.5 cents. We're also keeping utility rate flat. So if you recall, last year we did a utility rate study where we adjusted the tiers. We also increased the property tax last year, so we don't feel the need to do that again this year. Additionally, we tried to keep our overall expenditures under what's called the municipal cost index. Within macroeconomics, everybody knows CPI, inflation, all of that. There's actually a very specific index that is geared towards municipal purchasing, because we're not buying milk, we're buying rebar for all of our expansionary things. It also includes funding for the updated compensation models. If you'll recall, at the last work session, we talked about moving non-fire personnel to the 70th percentile, and then back in the spring, council had approved the STEP plan and moving fire to the 80th percentile. So all of those costs are folded in. Additionally, we are planning to take all of those contributions to fund balance and keep them in reserve so that we can fund our CIP projects over the next 5 years, at least 50% with cash, so that we don't have to increase our debt portfolio. And then lastly, we're not planning to issue any debt during fiscal year 27 that would impact the budget. If we do issue debt, our next planned issuance has to do with that second elevated storage tank on the west side of town. That would occur at the earliest at the very end of fiscal year 27, with funding happening during the fall of calendar 27, which is fiscal 28.
Got it.
All right, and then just to kind of reiterate our overall plan and how it relates to the budget and fund balance, we're looking at a ending fund balance for just the general fund at the end of the current fiscal year around 40 million. After that, what we look at is what are our reserve policies. Right now, our reserve policy says 180 days of operations, so about 50% of the next year's expenditures. That would be 7.5 million that we would always keep in reserve, and we would effectively consider that non-spendable. However, with some of the larger scale projects that we have coming up, we are going to recommend at next month's meeting with the policy adoptions that we increase that slightly to 10 million, which is about 240 days, just to give us a little more cushion for, as I said, those large scale things coming up. One thing I do want to mention is I am only talking about general fund, so we have all of our other funds that I'll talk a little bit more about later, but those have very restricted and specific purposes and aren't available for the types of things we're considering. So if we were to say at the end of the current fiscal year, we have 40 million in fund balance, 10 of it is considered non-spendable, we're looking at an available fund balance of just over 30 million. Compared to the proposed CIP 5-year plan, those projects total just over 63 million.
Casey, can you remind us where our general fund was, let's say, 5 years ago?
It was closer to 20 million. I can get that number for you if you've got a specific date in mind.
That's close enough. Thank you. So it's about doubled.
Yeah.
All right, and then just kind of another view and a little more specific here so that we can switch back over to fiscal year 27. So if we're talking about adding that $7.8 million to fund balance in the general fund with the adoption of fiscal year 27's budget, then taking out the 10 million for the new reserve requirement, and then saying that 50% of that CIP schedule is cash funded, what we would end up with is an available and unrestricted fund balance of 9.5 million at the end of fiscal year 27. So that we can set aside, we can earmark it, we can just have it as available and unreserved. That'll be stuff that we talk about in the spring, because then we can start looking at what kind of levers do we want to move as far as any kind of changes to the property tax rate going forward, what type of service level adjustments we need to start considering, and what are those other maybe unfunded mandates coming down with the legislative agenda next year? What are the infrastructure needs for long-term fiscal sustainability?
So if we, again, going back to where we were last year, I believe that we were planning on issuing debt
We were.
than we are now. And we are building this general fund, not just for the sake of building it, but for putting it to use and reducing.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and Michael, my memory's terrible, but general fund over 2 years gone up 28%, something like that when we did our math in the.
Yes, that's correct.
Now, and that doesn't include this.
That's right.
Our debt ratios, if you talk about, and then there was a lot of noise about our financial condition a few months ago. So, outstanding.
Yes, as Casey stated, next year that'll be a big topic for us, right? So we know that by the end of the close of next year, we'll have the 50% of our future debt issuances that we thought we would need, we'd be able to pay 50% of that in cash. So the question will be, do we want to pay more of it in cash than 50%, or do we want to start pulling some other levers, as Casey was speaking about?
Outstanding finance committee.
Do we do more maintenance and medians? Do we add a park in town? There's things like that we could do to add service levels, or there's also, we could just continue to stockpile a little more money, and instead of taking out $30 million in debt, we only take out $10 million in debt. And we'll continue to march down the path that is chosen for us by council and our citizens.
Excellent.
All right, and so just to give you a little comparison year over year between the two adopted budgets, the 42.5 million for all funds in revenue is an increase of about 7.5 over the prior year. The bulk of that has to do with sales tax. We have not seen any kind of declines like some of our surrounding cities have seen. In fact, over the last few years, we're seeing double-digit increases. So this is more of a shore up on our financial projections for sales tax and folding in some known activity that will occur next year. On the expenditure side, we're looking at about a $640,000 increase, so pretty minimal, 2% over the current year adopted budget. And then in speaking with the Finance Committee, one of the things that we kind of talked about was not only recognizing the year-over-year changes, but also making it less governmental and more
We're thanking
normal.
you for that. Corporate?
More business.
Corporate?
Yes. So what council will be asked to adopt, and you can see here a comparison between the fiscal year 26 and 27 adopted budget by category. On the revenues, we're looking at the 42.5 million. However, if you look at the very top here, we've got a category, it's called other financing sources. And whenever we use that in governmental accounting, that has to do with interfund transfers, and it has to do with bond proceeds. There's no bond proceeds included in next year's, so this is entirely transfers from other funds. Because of the way that governmental accounting works with the funds, they are self-contained charts of accounts, which means a dollar coming in one goes out in another. And so it superficially inflates both revenues and expenditures. So if we don't consider those, this is odd. Okay, there's more stuff on this graph, I promise. All we really did here was back out those other financing sources to show you the year-over-year true operating only revenues. And so what we're looking at year over year is about 8.2 million from last year to this year, again, with the bulk of that, about 5.5 million of it being sales tax. The other large item here that we're seeing not go down and in fact increase, plus the Fed has hinted at the last meeting that they may even raise interest rates, which with the amount of cash we are keeping on hand for those projects just means that our interest earnings are going up. And then the last item on here that you see a pretty significant jump on is going to be charges for services. Almost all of that is contained within our utility fund. That's the charge for water and sewer. We are seeing increased usage in water, so we have a $700,000 increase to both the expenditures and the revenue because those are offset costs. Yeah, that let me say. It doesn't want to come back. We'll send out a copy that has all those numbers on there. All right, and then looking at the expenditures, similarly, we have the transfers out that are that other side of the coin for the other financing sources. Additionally, whenever we talk about expenditures, we also include things like our capital and large-scale maintenance, and then we also include all of our debt payments. So these are non-negotiables for the most part, not true operating boots-on-the-ground daily costs. So if we're looking at year-over-year spending, our planned expenditures are increasing 2%. But if we take out those interfund transfers, if we take out the capital infrastructure maintenance, and we take out any of the debt payments, we see more of an increase of 1.1 million, or about 5%, which is within the margin of that municipal cost index. And so where we're getting those increases, as I mentioned, 700,000 of it is going to be for the increased cost to provide water. We've also got about $300,000 in additional personnel costs related to those changes. And then there's roughly $150,000 in IT services. Some of that has to do with certain contracts that we couldn't cancel that we're taking back from the academy as they've separated out. But the bulk of that has to do with us shifting from a director of IT to a fractional CIO model, so that moves those dollars effectively from personnel down to services.
But Casey, quick question.
Yes, sir.
The difference, the delta here is almost $1 million on services, and what you just described is only a couple $100,000.
So about 950 of it is in services. So 700,000 is where the water service, or the water purchases go,
Okay.
plus the 150 in
That's not on
IT.
utilities. Okay, got it.
All right, and then for our annual budget, we do adopt 17 different funds. Out of the 17 funds that we adopt, 5 of them don't have any activity for the next fiscal year. The first 2 on there, general fund and utility fund, I'll give you a little more detail on since those are our 2 major operating funds. We have 7 different special revenue funds. So whenever I talk about restrictions, these are what I generally mean. Special revenue means just that. There's some sort of revenue that is specially earmarked and can only be used in very certain instances. We also have 3 different debt funds. We have 2 internal service funds. This is where we use those transfers in and out. We would see those be budgeted if we had major vehicle or capital equipment replacements. We don't have any scheduled for fiscal year 27, so they're unfunded. And then the last 3 on here are on the capital funds. And just a reminder, as part of the annual operating budget, we don't generally adopt expenditures in those funds unless there's something known and something that is not previously approved and ongoing. Right now, the best example we have is the arts and sciences expansion that's previously been approved. The contracts have previously been approved. So to budget it would effectively double count it. So what we do is we come back and we amend at fiscal year end to shore up with the actuals. And then going into the general fund for fiscal year 27, we are proposing a budget of $22.7 million in revenues and $14.9 million in expenditures. So we've got about $5.8 million increase year over year on the revenue side. We do have an increase of roughly $400,000 in property taxes. 4.1 million of that is in sales tax that goes to the general fund. If you'll recall, we're allowed to levy 2 cents, and out of that, 1.5 of it goes directly to the general fund. 1% of it goes simply to fund maintenance and operations. The other half is specifically earmarked by voters for property tax reduction. And then the other half goes into our 4B special revenue fund and is not reflected in the general fund. We also are planning to increase interest about $890,000. And then we've got an increase of roughly $290,000 in other taxes. So these are our mixed beverage taxes. These are our franchise taxes that were paid by the different folks that use our utilities right of way. And then for expenditures, we're effectively flat. Here we've got some movement on the personnel as we discussed. The general fund is where we house most of our personnel spending, but with the reduction of any transfers out and capital spending, it ended up being a wash for fiscal year 27. See it coming.
Where's the capital? Capital is an expenditure.
So there is a difference between the capital funds and the capital that we would budget within the general fund. Whenever we talk about the capital funds, we're talking more about the CIP projects,
Right.
those long-term things versus capital outlay. Right, and then flipping over to the utility fund, what we're looking at for fiscal year 27 is a budget that includes about 8.9 million in revenues and about 8.8 in expenditures. Again, this includes the $700,000 on both sides of this equation. $700,000 for the charges for services means that we get to turn around and buy that water from the city of Fort Worth so that we can provide it. And then we also, in the expenditures, have about $700,000 in major maintenance over at the pump station that's planned. Right, and then just to summarize and recap, the fiscal year 27 proposed budget includes the $42 million for all revenues, $32 million in all expenditures. It keeps our tax rate flat, keeps our utility rates flat. It funds 51.5 FTEs, includes the $1.5 million in subsidy to the academy and $1.4 million in capital outlay and major maintenance spending. Any
You
questions?
say this already, but that's a reduction in personnel.
It is.
Four
It is a net
positions?
4 reduction. So with the separation and the outsourcing for finance and IT personnel, along with the continued reduction of activity within the municipal court, we did eliminate 2 positions in the finance department, 1 position in IT, 1 position in municipal court, and then we are shifting the director of IT from a full-time equivalent to a contract. But then we came back, and if you'll recall, at the last budget work session, we talked about the addition of a code enforcement officer. So that's how you get the net 4. Right. I've just thrilled you all. You're so excited. Everybody's still.
I am actually so excited.
Okay.
Mr. Carroll, how you feeling?
That slide is great news.
Yeah, it is outstanding work. And again, I know I say this every time. I need the elevator speech the last couple of years of our finances. What our general fund has done, what our revenues done, and what expenses have done, what our debt ratio is, what is the benchmark. I want to make sure everybody on council has that. The financial performance the last 3 years has just been phenomenal. It's just a really outstanding job. I appreciate y'all that's on the finance committee and helping manage through this stuff, but just thrilled. How you feeling?
Pretty good.
Good. You should. Any questions, comments?
So Casey, can you just, and maybe it's the next slide, can you just remind us what the next steps are?
Yeah, thanks.
You got it.
Perfect. Thank you.
All right, so next steps. As of last Wednesday, we do have our proposed budget available to the public ahead of the 30-day statutorily requirement. So anybody can go look at it. We've got transmittal letter in there. We've got all of the different funds schedules in there. We've got a summary of the debt also. And so today is the budget workshop. The only item that will require any action tonight from council is going to be a vote during the regular session on the maximum tax rate that we will advertise for in the paper.
Which we're not changing?
Correct.
Okay.
And so the next thing that'll happen is the papers will get notices for our public hearings. We're required to have one for the tax rate and for the budget. Those tax rate and budget public hearings will happen both at the next regularly scheduled meeting, where we will also adopt the tax rate.
Okay. Any other questions from council? Outstanding job.
Thank y'all so much.
Wade, great job.
Thank you, Casey, and thank you to the whole team, honestly, for putting all this together. They did a great job of digging into their budgets and really going to a zero-based budget this year and proving out every dollar. So very proud of all the work done.
Yeah, and it shows. I mean, I know it's been a couple of years of really hard work getting our foundation set. I couldn't be more pleased. Work and the results. Next agenda item, is anybody have anything you want to talk about on the consent agenda? Can I get a motion to approve the consent agenda?
So moved.
Can I get a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Consent agenda passes. Thank you. I now go into public hearings and corresponding items. I-1, hold public hearing to discuss, consider an act regarding ordinance 1049, adopting text amendments to section 102-411B9, 102-412C, 102-415B, and 102-416A of Article 9, TC Town Center Form-Based Development District, the Town of Westlake Code of Ordinances relating to building frontage requirements, modifying the list of building functions, monument signage, and standards for swimming pools, hot tubs, and outdoor wood-burning fireplaces and fire pits. Well, how are you?
Doing well,
That was a
thank
lot.
you. Good evening. This item is to hold a public hearing, discuss, consider, and act on proposed text amendments to the Town Center Form-Based Development District. The purpose of the Town Center Form-Based Development District is to encourage and to reinforce existing and future development patterns that are of an elevated visual quality, sustain a robust tax base, and afford a premium quality of life. Some considerations. These proposed text amendments exempt lodging and office uses from shopfront design requirements, update the list of permissible uses, establish standards for ground-based monument signs, as well as outdoor amenities. Our recommendations, the Planning and Zoning Commission met on August 4th, 2026, and recommended approval by a vote of 6-0, and the Department of Planning and Development recommends approval as presented. Actions and options, you can motion to approve with conditions, motion to deny, or motion to table. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Any questions from council?
The only thing I would say was I would like to add a condition that we add the use of a toy store. That's missing from the approved use list.
Absolutely.
About what? Store? Wow.
I mean, we have a list of like apparel store and hardware store and that. I think a toy store would be appropriate within it.
Cole, can I ask a question?
Yes.
So this covers everything within the TC, right?
Yes,
This
so-
is an update to the entire TC zoning.
Yes, correct. This will be able to be applied throughout the town.
Can you just go into a little more detail on the base monuments for the signs? Because, for example, there's a few of them around town currently. Is it going to match those, or were there specific specs that were required?
It varies a little bit from what our base ordinance is. I believe the maximum height is 4 feet within this, so it's a little bit smaller. And the total area is 8 feet, so it's quite smaller to what you see throughout town. And the building materials are pretty specific as well, and they're of a high quality.
Any other questions? Now open it up for public meetings. Everyone wishes to speak? I'll now close public meeting. This is
Hearing. Public hearing.
public hearing, sorry. I'm sorry. And this is a vote to pass. Can I get a motion to approve the ordinance 105949?
I move to approve with the condition of adding a toy
Adding
store.
Toy store. Can I get a
For
second?
use.
I love that, Tammy. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. I2, hold public hearing, discuss, consider, and act regarding ordinance 1050, approving a request from Ocean Equities Limited to rezone approximately 1.33 acres of land located 1550 Solana Boulevard and currently zoned as PD Plan Development District 1-2 to the TC Town Center Form-Based Development District Town Center Core Zone.
So this item is to hold a public hearing, discuss, consider, and act on a request from Ocean Equities to rezone 1.33 acres of land at 1550 Solana Boulevard from PD 1-2 to the Town Center Form-Based Development District Town Center Core Zone. Once again, the purpose of the Town Center Form-Based Development District is to encourage and reinforce existing and future development patterns that are of an elevated visual quality, sustain a robust tax base, and that will afford a premium quality of life. Some considerations, the current zoning is for PD 1-2, which is in Entrada. It allows an office use by right. And similar to PD 1-2, the town center core zone will also allow office by right, and it matches sort of the development patterns in the surrounding areas. On the screen, you can see the location of the proposed development. It's at the hard corner of Solana and Campus Circle, directly across from the Ventanas, the terraces, as well as the knolls. Some more considerations. So this change in zoning request is intended to produce an architectural form that's an appropriate transition. Right now, it's zoned for Entrada, which is the Catalan style, and by changing it to Town Center and the Town Center core zone, it'll be a more contemporary and modern style, which matches what you're going to see in the Ventanas once it develops, as well as the knolls and the terraces. So here are some of the renderings submitted. Yeah, if you see, it has that modern and contemporary look that you see in all the surrounding developments. Is a good fit for the area. So in summary, this change in zoning request is appropriate for the subject property and reinforces the land use and architectural character of the surrounding area. And if this request is approved tonight, the property owner will be required to prepare a development agreement that will come back before Town Council. Recommendations. The Planning and Zoning Commission met on August 4th, 2026 and recommended approval by a vote of 6-0. And the Department of Planning and Development recommends approval as presented. Actions and options, you can motion to approve with conditions, motion to deny, or motion to table. I'm happy to answer any questions y'all may have, and the applicant's here as well.
Any questions? Mr. Akira?
Cole, this is really two parts that we're not changing, but two parts that we're doing is there's a developer who wants to build this building, and then there are others who might want to come in surrounding areas. So the purpose of the change is not just to address the issue of this office building, but to attract more people or developers to build something similar that's different from Entrada, not hold them to the same architectural standards.
Yes, that's correct. If you look at the surrounding area as well, the way it's currently zoned, it's zoned for Entrada, but it's not necessarily adjacent to Entrada or close to it. So by changing the zoning to Town Center Core, it'll give it more of a feel of the surrounding developments as opposed to being just sort of sticking out as the one Catalan style building in the area.
Which would make no sense with what we did with Ventanas and that transition.
Correct.
Just to confirm, though, Cole, we're only voting to rezone this one relatively triangular piece of land, correct?
Correct. Just this 1.3 acre tract of land that's directly on the hard corner.
And either way it's zoned, the zoning would allow for an office building. So what we're really trying to do here is allow flexibility to have it, to change the appearance versus following the Entrada appearance.
Correct, yeah. The Town Center core zoning district will allow more architectural flexibility.
Any other questions? I will open the public hearing. Does anybody wish to speak? We'll close the public hearing. Can I get a motion to approve ordinance 1050?
So moved.
Second. Can I get a second? Second on it. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Cole, thank you very much. Agenda item J, regular agenda items, discuss, consider, and act to approve maximum ad valorem tax rate for advertising and future considerations. Casey.
Long time. All right. So as I mentioned earlier, this item on the agenda tonight is literally to just have a record vote from council that we will post in our notification whenever we publish notice of the public hearing. This is a statutory requirement. It is prescribed in local government code that the publication that is pushed out must have a record vote, even though you are not voting. For anybody watching at home, we are talking about you are approving a rate that we will advertise. We are not approving a rate tonight. We will do that after the public hearing next month.
But the rate we're advertising is the current rate.
Correct. So we are advertising 18.5 cents. We are not proposing a change to the overall tax rate from the prior year. So within the agenda packet, we do have our tax rate calculation worksheet. It's an 11-page calculation that we do with Tarrant County that forces us to calculate not only our no new revenue rate, which is the rate that says this is the rate that we would be approving if we were not to collect a single dollar more on existing properties from the year before. We also have to calculate what's called our voter approved tax rate, or the VATR, if you like acronyms. And so what that says is if you're looking at the maximum rate that we could levy without going and holding a general election in November, that's our VADR. And then the last that applies to us that we have to calculate is called a de minimis rate. This is a rate that applies to all cities within the state of Texas with a population of under 30,000, and it is the rate over the current year no new revenue rate plus however many cents would garner us an extra $500,000 in revenue exactly. And so looking at these three required calculated rates, the no new revenue rate is 20.6222 cents. The VADR is 21.6438 cents, and then the de minimis rate is 20.7811 cents. So for all of them, we are 2 cents or more under the maximum that we could go.
Excellent. Just remind us again, or you do have it in here, or surrounding rates, Keller Trophy Club, Southlake?
Give me 2 slides.
Okay, good. I knew
All
you
right.
had it.
And so one thing also I wanted to mention, we've had a lot of successful protests of residential property over the past year. So for our average homeowner, by keeping the tax rate flat, valuations went down on homesteads, both at the average and at the median. So if we're talking about just an average, our average homeowner is going to see a decrease of about $442 on their property tax bill by us keeping the rate flat. The median, so half of everybody above will be more, half of everybody below will be less. They'll see a rough savings of $1,100. And that's just by doing nothing but keeping it flat.
Excellent.
So Casey, obviously this means that we're collecting less tax revenue than we did last year, right?
It does not.
Ultimately or not? Oh, I thought that's what the no new revenue rate meant.
So a no new revenue rate, as it's defined by statute, says if you're looking at existing properties year over year, this is the rate that you would charge on just those properties. However, we are able to keep all property tax revenue from new construction and higher revaluations.
So it's really, we're keeping the rate flat. It's helping our residents, but it's not hurting us in terms of our collections either.
Correct. We saw some additional construction. About $600,000 worth of our levy is entirely from new construction. Right, and then whenever we come back and do the actual vote, just something to remind you of, we are required to vote on the tax rate as 2 parts, not just the overall 18.5 cents. And so those 2 parts are the debt portion, or the INS interest and sinking, and the operations, or M&O for maintenance and operations portions. And what that means is all of the revenue that is generated from just that INS portion goes directly to our property tax debt service fund to pay property tax backed debt, and the remainder of it goes to fund our general fund. Because of the way that we have to do our calculation, we are actually lowering the INS rate a little over 1.2 cents. And what we're doing is we're just sliding that over to general fund to help on those cash reserves.
Excellent.
And then,
I think
There
you
you
said
go.
somewhere in the document that you sent around, so that was in line with what the council was suggesting that we do,
yes,
taking an action that is going in that direction to allow us to have.
absolutely. And then the last slide I have for you today is just the property tax rate comparison. So we have 10 survey cities that we look at, and these are all of their published proposed rates for fiscal year 27. And once again, we are the lowest. About half of them, like us, kept their rate flat. The other 5, it was a mixed bag. Some of them raised it, some of them lowered it.
It's a great slide.
I know it's your favorite, so I make sure to include it.
Thank you. That is. It was a setup question.
All right, and so after we have this vote, what we'll do is we will publish the notice in the paper. That'll go out on August 30th, where we advertise the public hearing. It'll have the record vote that says you approved the advertisement of this vote. Come talk to us if you would like to on September 15th at our public hearing and our next regularly scheduled meeting.
Any questions from council? Can I get a motion to approve an act to approve the maximum ad valorem tax rate for advertising future consideration?
So moved.
Thank you. Can I get a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
J2, Casey, thank you. Discuss, consider, and act regarding an ordinance 1048 to adopt and approve amendments to provision in Section 2.164 of the Town of Westlake Code of Ordinances entitled Town Attorney to authorize a town manager to select and retain special counsel, subject to approval by Town Council.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. This item before you is actually an amendment to a current ordinance, Ordinance 1048, which is how we select our town council. What I'm asking this council to consider is allowing the town manager, when appropriate, to go out to receive special counsel in special situations, right? So if we have an HR situation, we have a great general counsel that gives us great advice. However, if we have something that is specialized in HR that needs a different level of attention that's HR specific, then we would like to be able to go out and obtain an HR specific counsel. If we have an EDC need that's very specific, that would require a little more experience in the EDC realm, that allows us to use every tool in our toolbox when it comes to economic development, then we would ask that you would allow me to go out and do that. I would be able, with this change in ordinance, I would be able to go out and obtain the attorney as required, so long as I did not go over what is allowed a spending rate for myself here as town manager. So my approved spending is up to $100,000.
So that's it falls into your approved spending limit.
That's correct. It must fall within the approved spending. I don't take any questions.
And within some budget.
That's correct. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Waiting for that question.
Wait, can you just give a little more background on the ordinance that is currently in place that would require this resolution versus, I mean, you can hire outside consultants within your budget.
Sure. Specific to the town attorney, this board hires the town attorney, right? The town manager does not. So for us to go out and acquire a special counsel, it would require us to come before the board and wait for a board meeting in order to get that done. Sometimes some things come across our desk pretty quickly, especially HR issues, that could require me to go out and get a specialized attorney for that need before a month is up. So in order to keep us from having to call a special meeting for
We need some agility.
that one purpose, then you would allow me to go out and hire the counsel as needed.
Sense? Any other questions? Can I get a motion to approve ordinance 1048?
Motion moved.
All right, can I get a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you very much. Time is now 5:08. Town Council will conduct closed session pursuant to Section 551-0712 of the Texas Government Code for the purpose of seeking confidential legal advice from the town attorney for the following: K1, Section 551-071, consultation with town attorney to receive legal advice regarding land use matters. K2, Section 551.0741, deliberation regarding personnel matters to deliberate the appointment, employment, evaluation, reassignment duties of a public officer, employee, A, human resource director position, and B, annual performance evaluation town manager. The time is now 5:09. We are in